Hello, this is Sable Guy, and I'm wearing my special black blazer and scary Gengar shirt to bring you a review of a controversial horror game, or, well, controversial in the few places of the internet I work, anyways. The Coffin of Andy and Leyley, which is kind of funny because my name happens to be Andrew, also. So, like I said, the game was allegedly controversial in the places of the internet I go to. Apparently, because it has incest and cannibalism. And so I decided, I mean, let's be real, the internet's full of pussies. So I decided, let's look up the game and see just how scary and controversial like this game is. So, the first thing I did when looking up the game to purchase is that, oddly, it was ranked 10 out of 10 stars when normally games are supposed to be ranked 5 out of 5. Oh well, I guess it was so good they needed to make a new ranking system for it. But honestly, I don't wouldn't say it's 10 out of 10, but I guess we'll get into that later. So, I guess I'll start with the story of the game, and I'll do my best to avoid spoilers, but spoiler alert, sound the sirens and whatnot, because I might get into some spoilers. So, the game stars Andrew and Ashley, a brother and sister who are currently trapped in quarantine. And not the COVID kind, the kind where you have water parasites stuck in you quarantine, which I've never kind of heard of. But maybe they actually exist. So, Ashley is a sick minded 20-year-old girl who has an extreme. She feels her brother is an item that she's obsessed with and won't ever let him go or let him be possessed by anyone else. Possessed being the quote unquote, because he's not being possessed, he's just like trying to get in relationships and stuff. And Andrew is pretty much just an item. He tries to be his own person, but his sister keeps interfering. Her sister keeps coming up with not so ethical and sweet little girl ideas, and while Andrew objects to them, he eventually caves in because of her love for her. And then they go apart on the clever ideas they have, and consequences arise. That's pretty much all I can say about the story without getting into spoilers, but um, on the controversial side of things, there there definitely is a bunch of cannibalism going on, but the incest is exclusive to one scene and is kind of doesn't even really happen. It's just a vision that they have. So on account of story, I would give the game actually a 10 out of 10 stars because the interactions between Ashley and Andrew just feel so real. Just a brother trying to take care of her sister and loving her too much to directly turn down her crazy ideas and trying to prove he's on her side and that he loves her. Wake up! Sorry, just making sure you're still awake. I I'm trying to make this video as exciting as possible, but my ums can be sleep inducing, so just making sure you haven't fallen asleep yet. So, while I do rate this story a 10 out of 10, I have to add that there isn't actually any voice acting or too much audio aside from a few snippets here and there, which brings me to the music, which is I I guess. At no point during the game was like, yeah, this is some really kick-ass music. It sort of fades in, which I guess is what it's supposed to do in a story-driven game. Too much music would distract you, but so I'd rate the music a 4 out of 5, I guess, since it does its job, it fits the tone, but uh there aren't any like iconic songs you'll remember at all during the game. Next up, I'll talk about the graphics. So during the dialogue, they have pictures of the characters that are honestly perfect. They show emotion and are pretty detailed for the art style, but when there isn't any dialogue going on, the art's just a simple stick person type thing where it's kind of just clear enough for you to tell what's going on. So I rated a 3 out of 5. I count the actual dialogue with the characters' faces and stuff a part of the story, and the in the actual game the art's kind of, maybe I could do it honestly. I'm a horrible artist, but you know what? I won't say that. That would be an insult to them. The art's I but less I than the music. Lastly, I'll talk about the gameplay. What are you doing when you aren't cannibalizing people and having incest? Well, you've probably played games like this. You just kind of waddle around and find an item. This item goes to this. Move on, waddle around, find another item. This one goes to that. That sort of thing. So, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Uh, I've played games like it before, and it's alright. Nothing stunning. You know what? Scratch that. 3.5. Maybe 4. I don't know. I'm a very indecisive person. So, altogether, I'd give the game a 9 out of 10. While I did give low scores for everything but the story, it's a story-driven game. You're not coming there for fantastic gameplay. You're coming there for the story, and they absolutely nailed it. Ashley's never does anything that could be considered directly evil. You can tell with her mental illness, it's justified in her mind, and everything feels so real. Andrew's reactions and everything about it feels realistic. So, if you're looking for a horror game that will give you an insight on some serious mental illness and will gross you out with cannibalism and freaky story, then this is the game for you. I wouldn't call it controversial. I'd call it just for a mature audience. The story's great, and there isn't really anything that I'd say should be controversial, but the game is great, and if you're looking for a good horror story time, then this game is for you. Thanks, like, subscribe, and bye bye.